Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for Dearly Departed Round 26 review. The show that looks at the teams I covered in the Championship and how they're getting on in the Premier League now. Each week we review their games. You saw on the picture there, we're talking Leeds, Villa, Norwich, Watford and Brentford. Not a great week, although we did just have a barnstorming game between Leeds and Manchester United in the rain at Elland Road. And, although it doesn't particularly work too well for Aston Villa fans, it was a really good win for Watford in the dearly departed derby. Norwich and Brentford, difficult trips out to Arsenal and Liverpool, and they both lost. We're going to get into all of that very, very soon. We're going to say a big thank you first to Simon. Simon got involved and sponsors this show now over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. This will always be free on YouTube, but if you do feel like you want to support financially my little ventures here with this channel, you can do so, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom, just like Simon has done, 25 years as a Brentford fan. Finally, the bus stop in Hounslow are in the Premier League. Big thank you to Simon. As I say, this will always be free. You don't have to support financially, but if you do want to, please hit that thumbs up button. Believe me, it does more good than you would imagine trying to grow our videos and get us up the rankings here on YouTube in the face of a lot of competition. Let's check the results in the Premier League this week. And I've got last week's results up there, so I didn't change the slide. Let me just bang through this really quickly. On my laptop, we're trying to get this done on a Sunday afternoon. Super quick. It was Brighton 0, Burnley 3, Villa 0, Watford 1. That's the first of our games. Southampton 2, Everton 0. Arsenal 2, Brentford 1 is one of ours. Palace 0, Chelsea 1. Liverpool 3, Norwich 1. Man City 2, Spurs 3 in a humdinger last night. Our last dearly departed game was Leeds 2, Man United 4. Full disclosure, it's 4:25 now, so Wolves, Leicester will start in 5 minutes, so that's not going to appear in terms of any league tables, but we'll kind of factor that in to the thinking. As ever, we're going to go from the highest ranked team down to the lowest. The highest ranked game and the highest ranked team is Aston Villa, and it is a dearly departed derby. Aston Villa versus Watford. And maybe to the surprise of some, although on a weekend with lots of surprises right down the divisions, a bit of a surprise here. Aston Villa 0, Watford 1. Aston Villa's slightly sticky record now continues over recent weeks, and it's a first win for Roy Hodgson as Watford manager. Let's get into it. There are your teams. So, for Villa, Martinez in goal, Cash, Chambers over Konza, Mings and Dean across the back, Ramsey, Louise, McGinn, Buendia, Ings and Coutinho. So we know what shape Steven Gerrard wants to play. I think we're fairly close to his solutions for personnel. No Watkins in this one, Ings in there, no Konza at the moment. He's tweaking, but roughly we know where he wants to go with this. And it's not working too well at the moment, you would have to say. These last sort of 6 games I've got in front of me, defeat against Brentford, draw against Manchester United, played well in that one. One at Everton in those circumstances where Rafa had been sacked and Duncan Ferguson came in. A mad 3-3 against Leeds, but 2 straight defeats against Newcastle, and this one we're about to talk about, without scoring. So maybe some cause for concern there at Villa in terms of 5 points in their last 6 games. If they get 5 points in the next 6 games, they will be trending down from their lofty position ahead of the rest of the dearly departed. Here is your Watford team, and nice and solid from Roy Hodgson in terms of the selections. We did think it was sort of a 4-4-2-ish shape the past couple of weeks. He does have Ismaila Sarr back now as well, doesn't he? So, in goal for Watford, Ben Foster is still in there over backman. Firmino, Cathcart, Samir and Kamara. So, as we'd expect with Roy, keeper and back four, he's just going to stick with them, work on them, get them knowing where, so everybody knows where everybody else is. And hopefully, in terms of a Watford point of view, the clean sheets and the good defensive shows, the noughts and the ones, are going to come. In midfield, Sissoko, Lusa and Cleverly. So out goes Kushka, out goes Kayembe as well, and in comes Lusa. And then Dennis and King are now joined by Ismaila Sarr, who, like we said, has got back from AFCON. And I don't know, I haven't sensed much excitement from Watford fans about Roy Hodgson so far. Obviously, the results to begin with, 0-0 at Burnley, fine, don't lose. 1-0 at West Ham, okay, deflective goal. Wasn't great against Brighton. But what I was going to say about Ismaila Sarr is just remember, Crystal Palace, solid. Can Ismaila Sarr do what Wilf Zaha did for Roy Hodgson at Crystal Palace, i.e. they provide him a base and unleash him, so to speak? We know Dennis has been very good, and King, yeah, I guess so. It's not been the worst signing in the world, has he? So I think the point I'm making is that there is goals in this Watford team, in my opinion, if they can keep them out at the other end. And that's exactly what they did in this game. And honestly, Villa fans, I literally had to search to find Villa doing anything more than long-range shots. I think one hits the roof of the net, and we got a free kick going just wide of the post. But it was, in the main, Watford giving up not very big chances and creating big chances themselves, which is exactly what you want from your team, isn't it? Especially in an away game. So this is Dennis. It's a good save by Martinez, actually. Dennis drills it low and Martinez dives across and manages to parry that one away. Oh, what is Sissoko doing here? So Sissoko, a sort of box-to-box type midfielder, in on the right-hand side, and he tries to lash this one to the near post past Martinez. But look on the far post, just any ball into the area in line with the far post. And Dennis, I think it is, who's arriving on the back post, has got an absolute tap-in there, hasn't he? So they certainly had some openings before they scored. This is about as close as I'd imagine Villa got, I think. That's Luca Dean curling that left-footed free kick. Just wide of the post. I don't know if Foster have it covered. I don't know. You tell me. Ramsey had one sort of onto the roof of the net, I think, as well. But not much doing. And here is the goal that's going to win this game. Came on 78. And it is quality from Ismaila Sarr, isn't it? I think that's Firmino, who's got ahead of him, the right back. Sarr, good feet. Just floats that one in for Dennis, arriving on the far post. And this is the plan, isn't it? This is the plan. Stick Roy Hodgson in, get him to sort the back two rows of team out, and hope that Sarr, Dennis and King can do the business up top. It's worked for one game, and we'll talk about its viability going forward. And, God, they should have had more than one goal in this game, really. We'll look at the XG numbers and the big chances. That is Josh King on the near post. I think that's Sarr as well, providing him again. And can he just soft foot that into the huge gap to Martinez right? No, he couldn't quite get the angle on it. But good enough. More than good enough, in fact. An excellent win. Now, you've got to look at these stats really in context. And maybe, and Villa fans, tell me if I'm being too unfair, maybe a little bit of a sense of a very experienced Premier League manager coming up against an inexperienced manager, because it looks like Aston Villa have played right into what Roy Hodgson wanted them to do in respects of, look, 60% possession and 20 shots, only one on target. And if you look at the shot map, it's not great. It's 1.19 on the XG. Looks like there's one big blob on there, but in the main, look at the chances created and the blobs on the shot map. It's quite a viable win for Watford when you look at it. And 4 shots to 1 on target in favour of the Hornets. 4 big chances forced. And it's textbook Roy Hodgson stuff, isn't it? We've seen this year on year how he does this. And maybe it's the first time he's got it to work here. So I think you do. Even the Villa fans maybe in the comments will maybe tip their cap a little bit to Hodgson on this one. He's come, he's set them up, not conceded many decent chances. Looks like he might be able to get a tune out of Ismaila Sarr, who in the Championship, when I was following Watford, or covering Watford rather, flitted between absolutely destroying teams all on his own and being a little bit anonymous. So typical inconsistent winger sometimes, Sarr, but he does have the ability to win games, especially if he's got a solid base behind him. So I think it's a big thumbs up for Watford and very, very viable in terms of going forward. We'll look at the table at the end of the show. Obviously, Norwich have lost. Big win for Burnley is problematic for Watford, isn't it? And Newcastle's form is also problematic for Watford. But they can only do what they can do. They've made the change and they need results now, don't they? So in terms of Aston Villa, I'd really be interested in your thoughts in terms of what's sort of going wrong. Because Gerrard came in, big fanfare as you can imagine, because of his sort of star power. Coutinho coming in, lots and lots of praise for him, rightly so. But yeah, results not good lately, and 2 shutouts in the last 2 games. And without wanting to have a pop at these 2 teams, Newcastle and Watford, they're lower down in the table and have been in the bottom 4 for the majority of the season, haven't they? So I'm looking at the next 2 games for Villa: Brighton away, Southampton at home. They need a 3-pointer in one of those, and ideally 4 points from 2 of those to get themselves back going again. So, 2 questions I'm going to put into the chat before I sign off on this particular game. 1, in terms of Aston Villa, what's going wrong and how is it going to get fixed going forward? And 2, in terms of Watford, how viable is this now going forward for the Hornets? I'm just going to really quickly, before we finish this, have a look at their next few fixtures. Crystal Palace at home. Hodgson knows a lot of those players. Manchester United away. So the next couple of fixtures, can Watford keep on moving? Particularly, to quote a 5 song from the late 90s, I think there. Particularly in that next game against Crystal Palace. Get your thoughts in on a really good win for Watford, but a slightly sticky run for Aston Villa. Villa 0, Watford 1. Get in the comments. Okay, on to the next, and it is Arsenal 2, Brentford 1. And I'm quite worried about Brentford's away form, I have to say. I think when I was doing my research pre-game, they were bottom of the league in terms of the past 8 away games now, and they've lost away from home again. I think they're slightly maybe being propped up by a couple of wins earlier in the season. I think their last away win would have been against West Ham, possibly. Although I'm not seeing that on my screen. It feels like it was a long, long time ago. Yes, 3rd of October. So it's not a good run away from home for Brentford. And it feels like a long, long time ago, that first game of the season, indeed, where Brentford really took Arsenal to school. And the tables have turned a little bit now, and Arsenal are looking pretty decent actually for a possible 4th place spot. They've got 3 games in hand on Manchester United. Not quite our concern now, but the point I'm making is the switch in narrative from Brentford arriving in the division on that first game on Sky Sports on the Friday night and winning against Arsenal, and perhaps a little bit of a lame run of late. We'll look at the table at the end, but Brentford are still in 14th place, and they are still 6 points above the relegation zone. However, we've had wins for Burnley, wins for Watford, a rising tide at Newcastle, and a new manager at Everton as well. So they do need, still, they're below a point per game now as well, Brentford. They do need some victories. Now, they've got 24 points, and maybe I'm spoiling my own fun here by what we're going to do with the table at the end. But, yeah, a lot of people said low tide, 34, but need another 10 points. Maybe Brentford for 10 points from the last 12 games. Couple of wins is what they need to get 6 of those. Anyway, didn't get anything at Arsenal. Let's go through this Brentford team. So Raya, Asia, Janssen, Pinnock, strong. Henry, Kanyos, strong. Jensen, Norgard, De Silva, strong. Nice to see De Silva back. And Buemo and Visa. So only, he's a big player for them, Ivan Toney, but it's a strong team from Brentford. Nice to see Josh De Silva getting back in after a long, long time away. Maybe we need to be saying, look, Arsenal are good and they're probably going to be in the top 6 and challenging for 5, 4, maybe at the top there. Who knows? We'll see what Manchester United and Spurs do. out there. But Arsenal, Ramsdale in goal, Tierney, Gabriel, White and Suarez, Xhaka, Partey, Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe and Lacazette. And from what I can ascertain, and you can smart me up a little bit more in the comments, pretty comfortable, I think, from Arsenal. I've got the attack momentum graphs and all the numbers to look at, and not really that particular first half. In fact, I can click on first half here on the screen. Looks absolutely dominant for Arsenal. So it looks like Brentford went there. It got 16 shots in the first half and 79% possession. So literally from the word go in this game, Arsenal were at it. They did not score in the first half, but they did in the second half. And this is Emil Smith-Rowe coming in off the left-hand side. And this is very symptomatic, this goal, of the new strategy defenders are taking to not get a handball given against him. Because you see, Pontus Jansson really doesn't do a very good job of getting a block on here because he's so worried about keeping his arms in a, quote, natural position. And it kind of almost ends up making himself really small. You can still try and make yourself big and stay face on. I don't know. I don't think he helped David Raya at all because he's allowed Smith Rowe to use him as the screen to curve it around, and Raya's not going to get to that one. And Smith Rowe's good at this, actually, driving in whilst he's at sprint speed, still hitting that shot with, it's not right in the corner, but with enough accuracy. 1-0 Arsenal. If you want accuracy, this is just brilliant from Bukayo Saka. He gets slid in by Thomas Partey, I think. Does he? Yes, I think so. And he just drills this one in off the far post. And before Raya can even dive, it's past him. It's so accurate. Just cannons in off that far post. It's a great finish. 2-0. Brentford do get one back at the end of the game. Christian Norgard manages to just sort his feet out. Slide that into the net there. VAR check, but the goal stood. When we look at the numbers, though, not very good picture for Brentford here. Look, we mentioned Arsenal had 16 shots by half-time. They're going to rack up 24 shots in total, 8-2 on target. What I will say in Brentford's defence is, look, one big chance apiece, but in terms of just racking up sheer quantity of shots, they managed to get to 1.87 on the XG. Brentford 0.6. So we know the further below 1, you're essentially not creating a lot. And that goal came in the 92nd minute. I suspect even the Bees fans who will comment on this video and subscribe to our channel here would admit would have been a hell of a smash and grab if they'd banged in 2 goals in stoppage time. So, look, I'm pleased for Brentford in respects of the back three's fit, the keeper's in now. Looks like first choice wing backs. De Silva's back. Just need to get Tony back on the pitch as well. And perhaps what that will mean for Brentford is when they're not playing against, and this is a mitigating factor in this bad run. They've played Liverpool, Manchester United, Wolves, who are decent as well, Manchester City, did get a draw against Palace, and Arsenal. Not many goals going in, I have to say. Maybe need to get Tony back on the pitch to fix that. But next 2 games, home to Newcastle, away to Norwich, goodness me, home to Burnley. Look at those next 3. So if Brentford do not lose any of those games, most importantly, and they can get even 3 draws and 3 points, preferably 2 draws and a win, and take 5 points from those 3 games, that will massively strengthen their position. But particularly a defeat to Newcastle, the way things are going, would be transformative, I think. That looks like a big deal, that next game, Brentford versus Newcastle. So, look, there's a context we can talk about now, and feel free to get your comments in, but that's a huge game next week, Brentford versus Newcastle. A bit of a where's the compass pointing for either team, whatever analogy you want to use, canary in the coal mine for the rest of the season, that one, isn't it? So, worrying for Brentford, not dire. They can fix this. Like I said, 10 points probably between now and the end of the season, and they'll likely be safe, but they cannot afford to, I'm looking on my screen and I'm seeing lots of defeats in all comps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just on the screen there, I can see 7 defeats in the last 8 games in all comps. They need a win. They really, really need a win. And it won't take many winning games for them to look safe again, but it needs to come soon, doesn't it? Get your comments in. Arsenal 2, Brentford 1. Okay, this afternoon, my goodness me, what a game it was. And look, it's a massive sort of event, isn't it? Leeds versus Manchester United. And obviously the build-up was that Leeds have been out of the Premier League for so long now. I think it's 2003, possibly. They were showing it on Sky Sports. Yes, they did play last season at Ellen Road, but there were no fans there. So this is the first opportunity for those Leeds fans to whip up that atmosphere and really, put the fear of God up the Manchester United players like they've loved to do so over the years. Obviously, the issue is Manchester United had some very good teams and some very good players in those times. But it's a great fixture, isn't it? Leeds versus Manchester United. And it didn't disappoint in terms of incident, in terms of chaos. And the chaos exacerbated somewhat by the weather, let's just say, which was a little bit wet at Elland Road. But honestly, I think as a neutral, and I don't know if it stressed you Leeds fans out, if indeed you were at the ground. But I think it made it a really fun spectacle, adding that extra wrinkle of the horrible weather in. But Manchester United ultimately going to win this one 4-2. Leeds 1 point from the last 4 games, 5 points off the relegation zone. So I've been fairly steadfast. Look, I'm schooled on Bielsa and Leeds in the Championship and that last season. I've been fairly steadfastly saying I don't foresee this being too problematic. But I keep coming on here every week talking about Phillips not being there and Bamford not being there. And now the big issue for Leeds is Newcastle have zipped up the table. And look, it won't matter if Watford can't get a tune or Hodgson can't get a tune out of Watford. Leeds will be safe, won't they? Because could you see Norwich making up the 6 points of the gap? Burnley after that win. Look, Leeds need to win some games, don't they, as well? And they didn't win this one, and this was Bielsa's solution for trying to win it. Meslier in goal, Ailing, Urente, Strauch, and Dallas. No Firpo in that 11, and no Liam Cooper either. In the centre of midfield, Koch, Forshaw, as usual, we say with Bielsa, however you perceive the team shape, use whatever numbers you're comfortable with. Interestingly, Firpo was on the bench, and so was Rafinha. He does not start. He's an excellent player for Leeds, but not started in this one. Harrison, Click, and James Rodrigo up top. And again, I will say those 2 names, not to wind up the Leeds fans anymore, but Bamford and Phillips were such key players in the success that saw Leeds finish 9th last season. Manchester United, De Gea in goal. Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, Pogba, McTominay. Start for Lingard. We think just some running power needed there, particularly down that right-hand side. Bruno Fernandes, Jadon Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo, and 6 goals at rainy Elland Road. And disappointing this one from a Leeds point of view. Luke Shaw swings the corner in, and it's just really straightforward. It's a set play, and Maguire gets up there. I'm not entirely sure whether Meslier covers himself in glory. You can see the ball's dropping, 8 yards out. I don't know what his starting position is, but if you're going to come that far and you don't make a jump at punching the ball or a challenge, it is then a very easy header for Maguire and a very big area to aim at, unless another Manchester United player, you can do a Peter Schmeichel and make a big starfish shape. Yeah, so I don't know whether Meslier would... Look, if he'd stayed there and Maguire had just powered the header in, we'd be saying the same thing. So, yes, not great from the set play. Manchester United 1-0. And so frustrating for Leeds. 6 minutes stoppage time added on because of a concussion issue for Robin Koch. And Manchester United score 5 minutes into the 6 minutes of... So it says 45 plus 5 on my readout there. And it's a little bit of a counter-attack. You have to say in the conditions, it's a lovely cross by Jadon Sancho. He dinks it up in the air. And look, they've lost Bruno Fernandes, who often when you're watching Manchester United, he's basically a second striker sometimes, isn't he? And he does exactly the right thing here. It's wet, it's slippery, he just heads it down as hard as he can, doesn't go for the corner, and Meslier can't adjust, and certainly no fault for the Leeds keeper on this one. I was just saying 45 plus 5. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, 49 on the clock there, indeed. Into the second half, though, and what a comeback from Leeds, because they're going to get it back to 2-2 with probably the two quickest goals together. You'll see this. I think they were like 25 seconds apart or something ludicrous like that. Where I got the pictures here from, the Sky Sports have put it in the same clip. They were that close together. It's a bit of a lucky one, isn't it? I think even our Leeds friends would admit that. I'm pretty sure Rodrigo is trying to find Rafinha, who came on at half-time along with Joe Gelhardt. I think he's trying to drop that in that nice big area. To be fair, Rafinha does look like he's got the run on shore if the cross is accurate. De Gea's waiting for it to drop ahead of him, and maybe look, if Rodrigo meant that, it's one of the most brilliant bits of disguise and Ronaldinho level lobs. I think he's just overcooked it in the conditions, but it flies over De Gea's head, poor from the Manchester United keeper, and into the back of the net. Nothing really lucky about the next one, where there's a 50-50, and I think Bruno Fernandes is frankly trying to buy a foul off Adam Forshaw, and it's really not a foul, is it? He gets in there, there's contact, but I don't think it's illegal contact. Down the side it goes. Dan James stands up his man, sticks it across the box, and Rafinha again has got the run on shore there. I wonder whether any Leeds fans will be questioning what would happen if he had started this game. But he is able to slide it in the back of the net. And the double substitution within 9 minutes has got it back from 2-0 to 2-2. Now, speaking of more substitutions, Ralph Rangnick is now going to get a big tick in the box because he's going to make 2 substitutions. Fred for Pogba, Elanga for Lingard. And both of those players are going to score as Manchester United, towards the end of the game, just come on strong. I do agree with what Gary Neville was saying in the commentary. The more chaotic it got, you think Leeds are going to get the win. But when it went down to sort of a couple of little moments of quality, they did go Manchester United's way. And who would have known that Fred would have had this in his locker? Sancho takes the ball. Perhaps, I think his click doesn't quite track as well as he could. And who would have thought that when Sancho knocks it outside for Fred, the 2 yards that I think it is click gives Fred would be enough for him to unleash that shot with the left foot and just drill it into the back of the net. It's excellent from Fred. 3-2 Manchester United. And then, yeah, just chaos at the end here, and it's a break away. It's very good from Bruno Fernandes, I have to say. And he's able to slip Elanga in, and he can just shape the side foot into the corner. Look, Leeds fans won't find it any consolation hearing a neutral like me say it, but it was riveting. It really, really was an exciting game. And what I will say is having Leeds, Manchester United with fans in the Premier League makes the Premier League better. It really, really does. It's a tremendous rivalry. And I loved all the Eric Cantona stuff and Roy Keane and Gary Neville and Jermaine Beckford in the build-up. But none of that is relevant today because Leeds did indeed lose the game. And looking at the numbers, we say this so often, it's just, can you play the conditions best? And the fewest mistakes normally wins. You'd say maybe a mistake from De Gea for one of the goals, maybe the set play particularly, and then the mad minute for Leeds and the breakaways at the end for Manchester United. But in the main, looking at the numbers, 54% possession Leeds, 16-15 on the shots, 3 corners apiece. Look at the big chance count, though. That's the one, isn't it? And forget the conditions. We do know Leeds play open, and we do know Manchester United, even under Solskjaer, had been very good on transition. And I know Fernandes was getting a bit chippy during the game. He's a quality player, isn't he? And he made a difference. So did Sancho. And this is what Leeds are up against since they've come up from the Championship. Is the names that you're mentioning, that Pogba, Fernandes, Sancho, are the players that make the difference, and the sheer amount of money. And Leeds used to be in that bracket back in the late 90s, early noughties, but a positive chasm in between the two there. I think that's made the difference in this one, even though a lot of the numbers are reasonably even. Just that big chance count and Leeds giving up big chances. XG 2.1 as well. You expect goals to flow when you are conceding those amount of chances. How worrying is it for Leeds? Well, I suppose we have to be realistic about it. And if Bamford and Phillips aren't going to be back anytime soon, which don't think they are going to be, and the next two games are Liverpool away and then Spurs at home, maybe it could get closer in the short term. And maybe I need to shut up about Bamford and Phillips and the players that are playing in the reality we're actually living in need to stand up and deliver. I'm still reasonably confident that Leeds would have enough to deliver. They've got Aston Villa at home, they've got Norwich at home, they've got Southampton at home, they've got Watford away, Crystal Palace away, Brighton, Brentford away on the last day of the season. You would think, given that level of opponent, and I'm talking, people get very emotional about this. I'm just saying teams that are in the bottom half that Leeds were able to, those that were in the same division last season, but as a general rule, Leeds were able to run the rule over those teams down the bottom. They beat most of them last season. They just need to be able to do the same this season, don't they? Defence is a worry. That's 50 goals conceded as well. I think, only Norwich have conceded more, which is not really the one. So I'd be interested in your thoughts. Putting today aside, which I thought was tremendous, and given the chances Leeds gave up, Manchester United were probably viable winners, weren't they? But going forward, what Leeds fans maybe presume is going to happen now, particularly with those two tricky games coming up, and definitely a pronounced trend up from Newcastle and a new manager at Everton as well, who Leeds lost to last time out. How worried are you, Leeds fans, and what is your view on Leeds 2, Manchester United 4 today? Get your thoughts in via the comments. And last but not least today, Norwich go back to the bottom. They lost 3-1 at Liverpool, but they took the lead in the second half. We thought we were going to have a super duper smash and grab mega shocker. We didn't get one. And actually, from a Liverpool point of view, the Manchester City defeat means maybe that door has opened up a little bit in terms of the title race. We're not interested in that. We're interested in Norwich. That's back-to-back defeats now for the Canaries. They had back-to-back wins against Everton and Watford, which took them out of the bottom three. However, a combination of 1 point in the last three for Norwich. A huge trend up from Newcastle, who've got 11 points in 5, which if they do that again in their next 5, they will be in the distance and clear and not worried about relegation at all. They'll be at 33 points from 29 games. Watford won and Burnley won. So the long and the short of it is, it was not a good day for Norwich. But we say this a lot on the channel. Norwich's season is not defined by an away game at Liverpool. But unfortunately, the bottom three picture is defined by what's going on right now. And this is what was going on at the weekend. So look, there's your Norwich team. Gunn still in goal. Krul still out. Aarons, Hanley, Gibson, Williams. Solid. So the selection is solid. Gilmore, Norman and McLean. I don't mind that. I think if they stick with that, there should be enough. And we talked about Gilmore until we're blue in the face. But if you can get those two runners around him doing the stuff that, not having to pop at him, that he's not developed in his game yet, that's the solution, isn't it? Up top, Sargent, Pookie, Rasic. I think Rasic is playing all right now, and it looked like an interesting battle from what I was hearing from the Canaries in the Super Stream telling me against Joe Gomez, who was playing right back. Let me do the Liverpool team. Alisson, Tsimikas, Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez across the back. And the great news for Norwich fans yesterday is that Robertson and Trent, who are so good it's not even funny, weren't playing. However, when you move forward in the team, you can see that the sacrifice Jurgen Klopp made at the back was very much mitigated up the top with Keita, Henderson, Chamberlain, Salah, Mane and Diaz in this one. Now, I do acknowledge Tsimikas missed a very big chance before this, but look at that. Oh my goodness, Teemu Pukki, he has to score that, doesn't he? He's had a touch. I think he's just setting himself on the left foot there. And just a massive chance to put Norwich 1-0 up. I do acknowledge the chance Liverpool missed, but in the reality that was actually being lived yesterday, Norwich should have gone 1-0 up in the first half there through Pukki, who is normally very reliable in a 1v1 situation. He's almost one of these players, I think, where if he's got slightly less time and goes on instinct, he's actually better than when he's got a bit more time. So you give me your thoughts on that. Norwich did, somewhat luckily, take the lead, though, in this one. Rasica comes through. He hits sort of the best shot he can, really. And it's not a great shot at all. I think Alisson's probably going to kneel down and gather it fairly easily. But big deflection you can see there. I think it's Matip, isn't it? Wafts a leg at it and it spoons up and flies in the other corner. And contrary to everybody's accumulator bets, Norwich were winning at Anfield from minute 48 up to minute 64. And we thought, can we get the smash and grab ram raid here and the unexpected point, or even 3 for God's sake, for Norwich? No, because that quality, yes, he didn't have those linchpins of Trent and Robertson, but Klopp did put in Sadio Mane. How good is that? The ball's headed up in the air from Tsimikas and they just lose Mane, and it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it, to flip his right leg up in the air and just volley it in over his head. Tremendous stuff. And then 3 minutes later they get done, and I'm sure we got plenty of FPL players in the comments who are very happy with this goal. Alisson launches the ball. I don't know what a goalkeeper gets for an assist, and then Mohamed Salah does the rest, and he really mugs off those two Norwich defenders back on the line. He's taken Gunn out of the game, the keeper. I think Gibson's there as well. He gives him the eyes. He looks in that corner. He just rolls it in the opposite corner. And the brilliant Salah does it again. A lovely slide rule pass by Jordan Henderson here to put Luis Diaz in. I'd be a bit disappointed if I was Angus Gunn here, because he does sit down a little bit too easily. And you almost need to go halfway house in these type of one-on-ones. And you need to be low and ready for the low shot. Can you get there? But I do think he makes it a little bit easy for the dink shot to be successful and to go in. But that it does, and it's 3-1 to Liverpool. Look, some pretty gnarly numbers there for Norwich. Look, we do see games where it's 25 shots and 3 XG and the away team nicks a goal off a deflection and wins. Not this one. 0.68 for Norwich, and God, most of that will be Pukki's chance, won't it? Let alone the Rasica deflected goal. But look, Liverpool are good value, aren't they? 70% possession, 29 shots, 8-1 on target, 8 corners to 4, 6 big chances to 1. But there was the chance there, and we talked so much this season about Norwich, particularly, and all the dearly departed teams operating down low in the table. Make the circumstances work for you, and Pukki 1-on-1, deflected goal to take the lead, but I'm being unfair probably on Norwich. Liverpool are freakishly good, aren't they? And there is the win for the Reds. And we know already, because we've mentioned a couple of these games, Southampton versus Norwich, Friday night as well. They play ahead of everybody. Can they get a 3-pointer to turn the screw? Let me know your thoughts. I know I'm the first to say Norwich's season is not defined on an away game at Liverpool. We get it. But Pukki's chance, taking the lead, I don't know. Could it have been glory at Anfield? It wasn't to be, but get your thoughts in. Liverpool 3, Norwich 1. Right, let's clear all of this up. Now, I should tell you it is 5:02 on Sunday, so we are probably at it's a half-full kickoff, wasn't it? So we're midway through the first half. Wolves are leading against Leicester. So Leicester are on 27. Wolves are actually on 40 above Tottenham as things stand. That could obviously change. Not too much interested because all our teams are below Leicester. I suppose it's good news for Villa if Leicester are losing. So Villa are still in 12, 27 points from 24. Poor run though. You can see only 5 points in the last 5. Double defeat, 2 defeats in a row. And they really, really need a bounce back where Stevie Gerrard will expect to be in the top half. Brentford 14th. They're below a point per game. Away form is worrying. The downward trend is worrying. And the trend up, particularly from Newcastle, is worrying. Brentford need some wins pretty fast, don't they? As do Leeds, who lost today. Perhaps Leeds, a little bit more experienced than Brentford, having been up a season longer, and a little bit more quality, probably, having been up a season longer and had a bit more TV money come in to invest. But both sides need wins, and both sides are trending down, whilst others beneath them are trending up. Looking at that bottom three now, Newcastle, well, I mean, is it going to stay now? Are they now going to keep that trend going and head towards 35 to 40 points? It looks like it could be the case. They've been on a really good run, 11 points in 5. So Newcastle are now out of that bottom three and clear by 4 points. Watford and Burnley winning is bad news for Norwich. Obviously, Watford are one of our teams, so we should say great news for Watford in that they've got things moving. They've got a Hodgsonable victory in very Hodgson fashion, haven't they? However, look above them, 4 point gap. Newcastle are moving like a train and Everton have a new manager in. So you almost wonder now, add a point per game on for Watford for the rest of the season. Another 14 would take them to 32. So there is a scenario now where Watford could make normal survival form over the remainder of the season and it not be enough. So I think from a Watford point of view and a Burnley point of view and a Norwich point of view, you're probably looking now, I don't know, that 17th place number to catch them, you would think. And people get very pedantic about this when I give the numbers out. At the end of the season, we obviously look at relegation or safety as 1 point above 18th. If you're in the bottom three and you're chasing, you're looking at 17th in terms of getting safe, aren't you? So, I mean, what is 17th going to be? Even if it was, say, the Brentford bad run continues, is it going to be that much higher than 32 that I've just talked about for Watford for a point per game for the rest of the season? I don't know. Whatever we know, and I say this every season, there is no safety chase unless teams in the bottom three win games. Newcastle have done that and they're out. Watford, Burnley, Norwich need to do that to continue. Here are the fixtures for next week. So Norwich go to Southampton on Friday night. Leeds at home to Tottenham, tricky. Brentford, Newcastle, massive, huge game, that one. Brighton, Villa, can Villa bounce back? Man United away for Watford. Look, Watford did great things in their last game against Manchester United. Solskjaer's last game in charge, wasn't it? But a difficult one, you would think, in the current context. That was our round 26 review. Thank you again to Simon, who's our fan sponsor. Do head over and check out Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom if you want to support. Remember, it's completely free to hit the thumbs up button, and it is heavily encouraged to comment on this video. We'd love to hear from you. Get your thoughts in. We try and make this channel, I know it's hard on YouTube and with football fans, we try and make it nice and balanced, nice and friendly and chatty, and try and leave the emotional screaming outrage in other parts of the internet. But I do respect your freedom of speech if you want to do that. Just not what we're trying to encourage in the channel, let's just say. Thank you everybody for watching. This has been Dearly Departed. Round 26 will be back next weekend, speaking about all the round 27 games. So lovely big over and out from me. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another